So I was able to open an account just in I think it's September thereabout, which I'm going to share anyways. So I'm going to share my screen, and it's actually is it's been growing, and we said that it would be nice for us to share with other people. There are a lot of parents here that are thinking of how they can invest for their children, and even how we can invest for ourselves. And I tried it, and I realized that it's actually working. And in the UK, we have, the most popular one in terms of custodial account is Vanguard. And I'm going to share my screen so that you can see what I'm talking about. So this is Vanguard. And Vanguard, we have what we call Vanguard ISA. So when you open an ISA account, ideally, every ISA account, when you open an ISA account, you have 1 year to, if you have tax allowance of £20,000 within 1 year. So if you invest £20,000 in the UK within 1 year, you are going to be, you are not going to pay any capital gain tax or any income tax, when if you invest £20,000 every year. So you could see making the most of your tax allowance. So if you are thinking of doing that, you can do that for yourself. But today we are talking about custodial accounts. You can also do that for your children. So you could see your tax year end checklist. Every tax year in the UK is on the, I think on the 5th. So you could see you make the most of your tax allowance by the end of 5th of April. So if you invest £20,000 within a year, after 5th of April, you can also invest another £20,000 within 2024, 6th of April to 2025, 5th of April. If you invest £20,000 less, if you make any profit from it, you're not going to pay any capital gain tax or income tax. And how can we do that for our children as well? You could say, it said, use your child junior ISA allowance if you are saving for their future. So if you continue to invest for the children as well, they will not pay any tax as well. So this is one of the ways you can take advantage of this. You could say invest up to 20,000 each year. And this is my own account. When I started, it started growing. And it's, for me, I think it's better than any savings account. A lot of us that have savings account, we know how the interest we are getting from it. But this is ISA account. And I opened this, you could see. I opened this in the, I think September. Let me just quickly check. I think I opened it in September. Okay, let's see. Let's see when I opened it. I started with Vusa. Okay, yes, I opened it in October. So when I opened this, I think I put like £500 earlier. Then I started investing like £100 every month. And look at the return. And this is what I want us to look at. And I know that when the big fish come, the vice soldier, she's been doing it for a long time. And when she comes, you're going to see, the power of returns and the power of consistency. You know, Imagine I started earlier. If I had started, like, let's say when they were 0 year, or when they were 1 day old, and you continue to invest £100, you know imagine how much they are going to get when they are 18. And the beauty of this custodial account is that you cannot withdraw the money. They are allowed to withdraw the money when they are 18. So you cannot withdraw it. So it helps us with discipline. But the most important part is the return. 18.72 return within 6 months. And this is powerful. I don't know where you can actually invest that kind of money and you'll be able to get it. ETF, and that's what we are investing in. So S&P 500 comprises of 500 top companies in the US. So if a particular company is not doing very well, what they do is that they will take that particular company out and put in another company that is doing well. So top 500 company in the US, I think presently Lucid has been taken out. Few years ago, Tesla joined S&P 500. So you have like a bit of a higher rest of mind because you are trading on 500 stock. So it's difficult for all the 500 companies to run out, to go bankrupt. And that's the beauty of it. But the two key ones that I want to mention before I hand over to DeFi Soldier is this. VUSA, S&P 500 VUSA, this is it. S&P 500 VUSA is called distributing S&P 500. And VUAG is called accumulating. So what distributing does is this. They give you dividends. So when they give you dividends, you can, if you may choose to, or you will have to no, you will have to invest the dividends manually. But if you are doing accumulating, every dividend that comes to you will be accumulated, will be reinvested. And that is the power of compound interest. But I think I will stop here so that we can hear from at least someone that is more experienced than me. But in the UK, it works. And Vanguard is, for me, is one of the best. I think they've been in existence since 1970s, 1976 or thereabout. So it's difficult for them to go down. So I just want to encourage us that, we can keep putting at least stipend for our kids. And imagine when they get to certain years, they won't struggle to get deposits, house deposits. It will be easier for them to just take it out. At this time, I would hand over to my mentor to talk about, investing for children using custodial account as a reference.
Thank you, Uncle BC. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes,
Good evening. Awesome. Good evening, good afternoon, everyone, wherever you are. Uncle BC is is still my oga, even though he's saying I'm his mentor in this, but we love just joining every Saturday, the different type of teachings that go out. I have always benefited from it. It always pushes me every week. I just want to say that. So before I begin my presentation, anyone in the house, if you know you have children or you plan on having children, can you raise up your hands? You can do that in the chat or unmute yourself and say yes. If you have children, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. And has anyone in the house started any form of investing for their children? Anyone in the house was invested for their children or have any type of thing set aside for their children? All right, that means this is perfect crowd to go over this teaching. And my last question, as anyone, well, we were all born, right? Did anyone inherit anything from their parents? Any trust fund baby or investment baby in the house? Nobody? Oh, wow, man. Well, it's going to start with us, right? We're going to do better for our children. So let me share my screen, and then I will begin the presentation. All right. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let me make it bigger and make it a slideshow. All right. Today we're going to cover investing for our children. This is meant to be like a brief introduction or a brief explanation into how to even begin, because from the feel of things, no one here said that they've started investing for their kids, right? And also to equip those who are about to be parents. I know in this house right now, some people are about to be parents. This is just a tool also to equip you and put that at the back of your mind, to put that in your plan for your children, right? The children are a blessing to us, and I strongly believe the two children I have were given to me, and I have to do my optimum best to just give them the things they need to succeed in the future, right? I know some people are not like fans of they're like, oh, we make fun about trust fund babies and stuff, and they think, oh, they're going to be rotten and spoiled. I actually completely disagree. Show me the statistics of actual trust fund babies that have not doing well in life, right? It's probably like very minimal, right? Most people that their parents have done well, right? They teach them how to do well, right? You want to continue that cycle of doing well. So why should we invest for our children, right? The first thing is that you want to teach them to be financially responsible, right? In school, nobody, unless you go to like school of economics or something, they're not really teaching people how to be financially responsible. The other day I was watching a video of this young Gen Z lady, and I guess she got credit card. And then she was like, oh, I have $4,000. And then she's like, yeah, I spent it all. And her mom goes, what do you mean you spent it all? She's like, yeah, it's like free money and I spent it all. So that to me shows me that, one second. That to me shows that she didn't really learn, or her parents didn't really teach her to be financially responsible. Because how can you as a 20-something-year-old not know that a credit card is not like free money, right? So we want to teach them to be financially responsible by instilling good money habits on them, right? In them. They're not like, buying Starbucks every day. Twice a day. I have coworkers that do that. They buy Starbucks, they spend about $15 each time they go, which is $30 a day, right? $30 times, let's say we work 20 times in a month, that's $600 on coffee. Coffee that you can buy coffee machine of $20 and buy coffee pack of $10 and make your coffee, right? And then I turn around and I'm like, hey, do you have stocks in Starbucks? Because the way you're spending like half of $1,000 every month there, literally one of my bosses, we went through finances and she was spending almost $1,000 a month. I'm like, you need to get your shares, because to me, that means you really believe in this company, that you're buying their products, right? People go over the top every fall with Starbucks, all this fall celebrations and fall pumpkin something, all those are marketing gimmicks, right? But I'm not saying that you should not have Starbucks. I'm just saying that it's probably wise, if you really love Starbucks, get you coffee 1 time, 2 times a week, and use the remaining to buy shares in Starbucks. Then that really shows that you believe in the company. And it shows them teaching them the value of saving and investing, right? And then encouraging smart spending, because they're not going to live with you for the rest of their lives. They're going to go on their merry way, right? A lot of us as adults, we're just learning some of these good money habits, right? But can you imagine knowing the things you know right now and knowing them like as a teenager or going through college? It's just you have a better edge than your colleagues. And that's my goal for my kids, right? They go to college, they're out of my house, they have to know good money habits, right? So that's as you all, as adults, as a family, um go in life, that should be at the back of your mind to teach them to be financially responsible. All right. The second point is about securing their future, right? Things are not getting cheaper. I was reading a study the other day. It's going to be really difficult for people. I mean, for the US, I don't know about every other place in the world, to even figure out how to get down payments for house, because it's houses are not coming like down. The average cost of a house is, if you look in the US, average cost is like $400,000. I mean, where are they going to get, like, let's say 5%? You'll be shocked how many people in the US don't have $1,000 saved. A lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck, right? But it would be amazing
It
if a
happens
kid
everywhere.
grows up. Yeah,
Do you
exactly. If a kid grows up and they're about you marry them off their wedding gift, and you say take 30K, 50K as a down payment for your house, your first home, that would be something, wouldn't it be? I think that's a way to set them, give them an edge over their peers, right? And it's not just house. Okay. What's it called? They want to start a business. Oh, mom, dad, I saw this opportunity for to buy this business. It's a car wash, it's a laundromat. This, how much do you need? What is the amount you need for the loan? You're talking about maybe a 22-year-old that really, like, you've taught them how to be savvy financially. And then they're like, yeah, they just need maybe 30K left that they need. And then you're like, okay, this is it. Pull it from the account and give it to them. Ah, I don't know. That's me. That would, I mean, if my parent did that for me, that would be something. So securing their future. Securing their future is not that, oh, they're taking the money, buying cars, living lavishly, partying. That's not what we're talking about. And I think that's what people think about when they think about trust fund babies. Like, oh, they're just partying, wasting time, things like that. But a lot of trust fund babies are not doing that. The ones you people see on media does not cover the amount of people that have generational wealth, right? You don't see them on TV. So don't have that at the back of your mind that, especially this our race, we think that it's, oh, you're spoiling them, this. No, you're not. You're just securing their future. I don't know. I don't want my kids to struggle the way I struggle. I don't know. I feel it's almost demonic to want other people to suffer because you suffered. It makes no sense to me. So just because I went through a difficult time does not mean my children need to go through a difficult time, right? Another thing is, another point of why we should invest is building their college fund. Um, if I tell you, people, I don't know in the UK, in Europe, people still have it well. US, there's no free higher education. I think it's a scam to get people, because they give free K1, K to 12, and then the amount people pay for college here, most of their debt is college. I have people in the military who join the military just to get their college debt paid off. You're talking about doctors with 400K of debt to go. I'm like, 400K. When do you want to finish paying 400K? Because the interest, even on 400K, is not 5% though. College loan interest is like 20%. Some of them, they only are able to even pay the interest monthly. They can pay, it's like so much. That's why here, you people, I don't know if you hear in the news, Biden saying that they want to forgive student loans. You see how crazy people went just for him to forgive student loan. But anyways, they blocked that because that's just a lot of student loans. People spend, like, we have friends that went, they studied psychology or English or arts, and the whole 100K for college fund. That I don't know. I don't want my kids to go through that. So you can start early saving for their college fund, right? That way they are not taking out loans, right? And they're almost starting with a clean slate when they start adulthood, right? And I always hear the argument, oh, what if my kid doesn't want to go to college? Good. Let them not go. Save the money, right? I'm not saying that like it's good for them not to go to college. Let me rephrase that. Right now, there's some jobs that they might not need to go to college. Maybe they want to go to a trade school, or they are maybe you are fortunate to give birth to the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world and stuff that drop out of college and create something big, the Elon Musk. That's great. The money is not going to waste, because here in the States, as of this year, any money that is a college fund can now be converted into a Roth IRA. I don't know if you guys know what that means. So let's say the kid decides, oh, I'm not going to college, and you have 100K saved in their college fund. The kid can convert that money into a retirement account. So you just roll it over, which is amazing. So your money is not wasted anyways. It's already grown astronomically, and it can keep growing in a Roth IRA. Or let's say your kid is the Elon Musk, and they don't need your small 100K chicken change, right? You, as the adults, you just carry the money out, pay the little taxes on there, because now that you're going to withdraw the money, you're not going to have that tax-free benefit. You pay the tax and then you enjoy the money. I've had adult families, like older people, that I've seen where all three of their children got scholarships to go to college. They got academic scholarships. I'm bringing all this up because those are excuses people make. They're like, what if they don't go to college? What if they don't do this? I'm giving you examples of what you can do then, right? I think they had three sons. They went to they all got academic scholarship. They were very smart. Well, they just took the money, bought some like new cars, all paid off in cash, right? They're older people, they're retired, right? And they traveled the world with the money. So the money didn't go to waste, right? So those are examples of things I've seen where people might like, oh, I don't want to save the money if they don't want to go, right? The money is not going to go to waste. And number four, helping them achieve their dreams. I've given numerous examples. Maybe they want to start their business, they want to do down payment for their first home, they want to do, they want to invent something and they need the funds. This is a way to start them off. Okay, I want to talk about the importance of starting early. It is very important to start early. You can start investing starting from 1 day old. You start for them, because the big thing is time. Time is the biggest factor, right? A 20-year-old that started working and started investing towards retirement, and a 60-year-old or 50-year-old that started working and started thinking about retirement when they were 50, the difference there is time, right? Okay. The difference there is time, because your money is able to compound faster, right? You have that time factor. So it is very, very important to start early, no matter how small. It doesn't have to be, you don't need to wait for $1,000 or 1,000 pounds to start. You just need to start, and I would show you guys examples of that. Okay, I already mentioned the importance of time and the importance of compounding, right? Um, I don't know if you can see this clearly. I went and did a compounding calculator. This is an example of if you just started with an initial deposit of $500 with an interest, a return of 10%. And I use 10% because 10% is 10% is the minimum return of S&P, right? Over the years so far. But some years S&P returns 25%. Some years 30%. Some years less than that. But this 10% is just being like not expecting a lot. So that's why I put 10%, right? And with this, you start with 500, 10% return yearly, and you put $100 each month until they are 18. This is how much you would have by the time they turn 18, about 60 something thousand dollars. That is enough for college. I don't know if everybody is like understanding what I'm saying, right? That is enough for college. This is an example of, let me see. Okay, this is an example of the same type of amount, but now you have additional time. Let's say, they don't need the money. You want to wait till their first house, when they're 30, they got married and stuff. And that same money, you're just doing $100. Some people use $100 to eat lunch now with how things are expensive. This same amount, 30 years, you're looking at almost $250,000. I hope this is kind of sinking in. So with that being said, how do you start investing? And for me, I've categorized it into 4 different ways, right? You can choose one or two, or you can do all 4, no matter depending on how liquid you are with cash, right? The first is index funds, and Uncle BC already touched about that. Index funds are like S&P 500, NASDAQ. This is where a bunch of companies are put together into like a bracket. So like S&P 500 is 500 companies, biggest companies in the US, right? And based on that, some of these other financial institutions, Fidelity, Vanguard, Schwab, they created a fund like they're cheaper because one S&P 500 is about 5,200 now, but one Vanguard S&P 500 would be about $520. So it is cheaper. It has less fees, right? And you don't have to worry about the management. So those are examples of index funds, right? They replicate the indices that we have. Indices are the S&P 500, NASDAQ 100. So I always go for the S&P 500 because it's more broader, right? 500 companies. Like Uncle BC said, what are the odds that 500 companies will all fail at once? Like that means the whole country is in trouble, right? And it rotates. But NASDAQ is more tech, right? And it's 100. So those are index funds. You have the 529 college savings plan, and this is geared towards people in the US, but definitely all these are replicable in other countries. In the UK, you just look at the equivalent of this. There's Vanguards all over the world. There's Fidelity, there's Schwab. Those are big companies, right? But the name, you guys might have it. I think Uncle BC said, did you say Vista or something for you guys?
Vusa and Vuag.
Vusa,
Yeah,
Vuag.
yeah.
Like ours is VOO. So the names are different, but it's the same thing. So you just have to look at the, okay, S&P, Vanguard S&P 500 in the US. What is it? Fidelity S&P or Schwab S&P. So this 529 account is a special account whereby you can save money for kids towards college fund. The expenses, just, I know it says college savings plan, but for some weird reason, it's actually any education plan. Let's say my kids were going to private school um for um for kindergarten to 12th grade. I can pull money out of this account to pay for their educational expenses like their tuition, right? But most people in this US, the K to 12 is free, right? So that's why it's mostly called 529 college savings plan. So for the 529 college savings plan, you can put money in there and it is tax free when the expenses are educational expenses. So let's say Nathan goes to college. Um, Nathan is my son. He goes to college. I can pay for his tuition from the account, right? I don't have to pay interest on the gains from the account. So that's what a college savings plan is. It's basically money dedicated for college. And I already mentioned people always say, oh, the downside is people always said, oh, what if they don't go to college, right? Well, if Nathan decides not to go to college, I can combine the money and roll it and change the name to Naomi, my daughter. So that's the beauty of this account. Or I can be like, oh, I want to gift it to my sister's daughter. Let's say my children don't want it. They don't want to go to college, or there's no need for it. Let's say they got academic scholarship or they're doing something different that's different from the college path. Then I can always gift this to somebody else for their college expenses. But now, like I said, the law just passed to whereby even if they don't use it for college, um you can roll it over into a Roth IRA, which is a retirement investment account. Other types of investment vehicles is the custodial brokerage account, right? When you do this one also, I splitted this. I differentiated this because I wanted to mention the index funds separately. Actually, a custodial brokerage account just means someone else owns the account. You're just in custody. So let's say if I open a custodial brokerage account, I would open an account for Nathan, but I open the account, but the owner of the account when they turn 18 would be Nathan. So you can, in that same custodial brokerage account, you can buy your index funds, you can buy the S&P 500, Nasdaq 100. But I also want to mention that you can buy individual stocks in those accounts too, right? But I just prefer the index funds because I mean, what are the chances that you're going to pick the stock that is going to like do way better than the index funds unless you're like very savvy and you're like you're really good with investing and picking out stocks. This is kind of like a little bit um how would I say volatile, because let's say you were buying NIO or Lucid Motors, and that's the stock you picked that is going to go to the moon and beat Tesla. Well, they ain't going nowhere because those stocks are like they're over 80% down from their all-time highs. So that means it's much more volatile and much more like dangerous picking individual stocks. But let's say you were very good and you picked Nvidia, um, yeah, then you'll be up like quite a lot on your investments now. But usually the average people, normal people, yeah, you're not good at picking stocks. So don't do that for long-term investment for children. And then they have bonds also, which are like they hardly move, but it depends on the type of investment accounts you have. There's some accounts or there's some funds that are a mixture of like S&P, international stocks, and a little bit of bonds. Bonds are just much more stable. You would not lose a lot of money, but you're not going to like make S&P 500 kind of returns, right? The returns are very minimal. And then I'm going to show you guys an example of that. What I have is a mixture of all of the S&P and bonds for the kids, the type of account I chose. Then you have something called a savings account. Please, please, please do not think that I'm talking about like your savings account for your um like your banking, checking, and savings account, because you're never going to make money putting money in your savings account. You're not, I mean, the highest return is probably 0.01%. So you're not going to make money. I'm talking about a HISA. I don't know if they have the same thing in the UK, but HISA here
Yes.
is a high yield savings account. So those ones return more than a savings account. But like I said, that's I before you do ISA, I think you should just do like the index funds. And then let's say you have extra play money for them. Maybe you can then open an ISA for them. So those are the investment vehicles that you can use for the kids, right? I think we've covered it. What I do is diversification. You can do a mixture of stocks, bonds. Also, another thing I forgot to put on here was real estate. And I'm going to give you an example, right? Let's say my kid is, you know, 1 years old now. I can buy a real estate property, right? And I say I want to be paying doing the mortgage. I pay it off in 15 years, right? I pay it off before they go to college. I take the house, I sell it, and then I have the funds for their college from the sale of the real estate, right? So, or one thing one of my friend does is that our kids, they go to school in Texas, right? And they go to school. She bought a property when our first kid started university. She's going to graduate this May. So she bought a house and it's a duplex, right? And then our daughter lives in there because renting also for college students is not cheap, right? That's another different expense on its own in addition to tuition. So what she did is she's renting out one part of the house, but the rents that other part of the house is bringing in is what is covering the mortgage for the house. So our daughter basically lived for free. I don't know if that makes sense. Does everyone understand what I just said?
Yes.
Basically, a daughter lived for free. So she bought the house, and guess what is happening again? The first daughter is going to graduate this May, and the second daughter is starting in August at the same university. The daughter calls us and was saying, "Oh, mommy doesn't want me to go to blah 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 blah." The mom said, "You receive tuition that we should talk to her." I'm like, Chris, you need to go to school next to your mother. She wanted to go to another state, but she got tuition. She got scholarship for the out of state, but out of state tuition is more expensive than in-state tuition. Anyways, long story short, we're like, Chris, you need to go to school in Texas because one, you have free accommodation and you already got scholarship that will cover all your tuition expense. Than going out of state, your scholarship is not going to cover all your tuition, and then your mom has to worry about housing. So Chris has agreed. Chris is going to go to school in Texas, but the beauty is that she's going to live again for 4 years for free. So that's the real estate play also, right? Buy, and then when the kids graduate, you can keep renting and bring in rental income for that property. Um, Always diversify the investments, like I said. Starting early, you don't want to put it in all like your eggs in one basket. That's why I said you should diversify in stocks, bonds, and real estate. Okay, I think I already mentioned this, investing based on time horizon. Since we're investing for kids, um, I do two things, right? It's a long-term play. The short-term goal and long-term goal for me, it's only long-term goal for the kids, right? Because they don't need the money now. So there's really no short-term goal, right? But if there was a short-term goal for your kid, you can always do, let's say maybe a ISA for that returns money real quick and you can pull it out. But if it's long-term, you should just leave it in those custodial accounts. There's no need because the custodial account, you can't pull it out until a certain age. That's why I have the short-term goals for the versus long-term goals. Um, okay, we already talked about teaching financial literacy. And then while you invest for them, make sure you're monitoring the accounts and adjust appropriately. Um, for my children, their educational accounts, I I invest in an aggressive fund. And when Nathan turned 5, the the fund wanted to move it to medium aggressiveness, if that's a word, fund. But I went back in to change it to a more aggressive fund because I mean, the more aggressive fund, of course, is volatile, but that's really more S&P 500. I just want S&P 500. I don't want anything else mixed with it because as they grow older, right? As they grow older, let's say they are 15, you want the money not to be moving volatile because now you're going to start making withdrawals for the fund. So what those funds look like is that they will now add things like bonds, right, to it to make it more stable. The returns will be as big like the aggressive fund. So that's what I mean by review and adjust regularly. But my kids are like 1 and 5, so I didn't want to move it yet to a minimum. For my son, when he turned 5, they wanted to move it to a minimum aggressiveness, and I was like, nah, let's move it back to the more aggressive fund. So depending on your risk tolerance, just adjust. All right. So this is an example. I took the screenshot a couple of days ago and I was like, oh wow, okay. This is my children's educational account. So you can see it's called the 529. There's an account 1 and an account 2, right? Account 1 is for my son. My son is 5 years old and he has a balance of 9,005 in there already. And my daughter is 1 years old and she has a balance of 3K in there already. My daughter, we started early for her. My son, I think until when he turned a couple of months or even a year, that's why his is like 9.5, right? These are little kids, like, and y'all, I don't put more than $100. And then when people give them money for birthday and stuff, because me, I'm like, don't buy them toys. They have like way too much toys. All their aunties that are giving them set cash up $50 stuff. I'm always like diligent and I put that money in their account because they sent it to them. So this is where that is from. This is $100 per month. It's nothing extraordinary. That's 1,002, right? But look at the return on that because my son is 5, right? And I put only $100 per month. So technically, I should not have more than 5,000 in here. But this, and maybe let's say 6,000 at the most, based on aunties and uncles giving $50 here and there for birthday. This is the balance on there. This is my 1 year old. So the thing is, time is the biggest factor, no matter how small. Of course, as I told my husband the other day that we need to review the account and maybe bump it up a little bit. But I'm just showing you guys, this is just based off $100 per month. You can eat $100 in Burger King. They can, if you take them to Burger King. The other day, Bumi took Nathan to the movies, and Bumi came back and was like, oh my gosh, things are really, really expensive. He got the kid pass and stuff. Only two of them. They spent almost $100 watching movie and eating popcorn and drinking Coke. That's what $100 is. Doing your nails one time, going to nails salon, that's $100. You have $100, you have $50. If it's $50, divide this by two. That's what you have balance for the kids. So this is their educational account. And then I have another account. I talked to you guys about the funds. The company I used is a military affiliated company. It's called USAA, and it's called Victory Capital. So I don't. This is like thinking about the Schwab and the Fidelity Vanguard. I just go with this company based off of the base because of your military affiliation, and it was easy to just open the same type of account in their education fund. This is their account of we call this is the gift account that will give them, when something major happens. This one, I only put $50 per month. And this is, you can see that Naomi's money is more than Nathan's money. When we gave birth to Naomi, somebody gave her a lot of money, and I just drop it here. So this is just, and all I put in this account is just $50 for both of them. So that is the power of investing. Even in 2020, when the market went down, things crashed, and blah, 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 Nathan's account has recovered like very fast. Because then what it meant is the account went down, but we started buying those shares in those things cheaper. That's what that equated to. And I think something I plan on doing whenever there's that sudden drop in the market, let's say we have a year where there's maybe a financial crisis or something, one thing to do will be to take money and just put a bulk of money in those accounts to buy more shares into those funds, into the education plans. So how do you get started? You just need to open the account. It's easy. You log on Schwab, you log on to Vanguard, look for opening of custodial account, put in the children's details, your details first, and then put in the children's details, and you start really, and you forget about it. All this is on recurring transactions monthly. I don't think about anything. It just comes out of there. You would not miss $50 or £50 coming out of your account because it's not money that I don't even see. It just goes there automatically. So that is the end of my presentation. I hope this has helped someone or to think about doing this for their children. Like I said, the biggest factor is time, right? If you start this today, if you've not started an account for your children, if you start this today, you're better off than someone who puts this off and starts next year or 5 years from now. So let us take action and get this done for our children. That is the end of my presentation. I will stand by for any questions, any comments. Yeah, thank you guys.
Wow, thank you very much, Victoria, for that lovely presentation, and thank you for being vulnerable, which is very important. And I think I want to believe that we've got value from our presentation. But I have a question. Let me start with myself before I
Mm-hmm.
give people opportunity. One thing that most people think about is when you're talking about 18 years, 30 years, people always think about the value of the money. Yeah,
Mm,
that's okay. In 18 years' time, or in 20 years' time, or 30 years, yes, you get $1 million or five hundred
mm-hmm.
thousand dollars. But
Mm-hmm.
will the value actually worth it considering inflation? And that's a question that most people may want to ask.
I think I think that's a question people ask because you're now looking for opportunity to not do anything. Let's say money, there's inflation, that's why you want to at least invest, right? Because someone that has 1 million when there's inflation is better off than someone that has nothing when there's inflation. It will go a long way. This is not money that, okay, they're going to not do anything in their life, right? It's just money to aid them, things to give them an edge, right? Let's say the money is 100K and tuition in 10 years' time because of inflation is 200K. Being in debt of 100K is better than being in debt of 400K. Or 200K. So that's my response to that. And you never know, right?
Mm.
Everyone is just, what if there's no inflation?
Yeah.
But okay, we know inflation happens, right? But someone that has something is better than someone that doesn't have anything. And even with inflation, the markets still return tremendous money. That's why I said you don't want to keep that money in cash, right? Half of what I put in the education account is return on investment, is not what I put in. Because if it was based on what I put in, there would just be maybe like 4,000 in those accounts instead of 9 grand. So the market is what you're really using to beat inflation technically, because inflation is currently at what pace now? But S&P last year returned over 20% last year. So you're beating inflation. That's how you beat inflation, being in the markets. So that's my response to that, and I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you very much. Yeah, I like the
Sorry,
I
please,
like
can I add something?
okay,
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
go on. Yeah, is there a question or a contribution to what she just said?
I think it's a contribution to what she just said.
Okay, yeah, go on.
Yes, thank you, sister. Is it Defi Soldier or Defy Soldier? I don't know.
You just
But
call her
Oh,
the
Victoria.
Lord bless you.
you
Thank
can
you.
call me Victoria. My nickname is just the DeFi soldier.
Okay, all right. Sister Victoria, thank you so much for this presentation. For
Yes,
me, I
ma'am.
think thinking of inflation, the important takeaway is that we're encouraged, one, to first start saving for our children. And the money we're saving are not supposed to be money that would make us uncomfortable now. Because if you're
Mhm.
saving 50, what I tell people is that, for example, if you're saving 50 every month for your child now, if you look back this year to last year, there are so many monies that you spent last year that you can't account for.
That's right.
So, and those are the things, those are the things that you accumulate. It's like a savings account. So when you do that, you have these savings for them over time. There are many, maybe 20 pounds, maybe some. In fact, even if you are putting 10, if she had shown the power of compounding it over to those 18 years, we will see what one 500, one 10 pound, what 20 pound, what 50 pound will mean in those years. So even if there is inflation, the return that it has accumulated would have found that. And then, like she said, it's better they have something they're starting from zero. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, that's a very good one. It's better than nothing. And let me quickly share my own as well. And just to look at how S&P 500 always beats inflation. Inflation in the UK presently is less than 4%. And I think as at October that we started investing for the children last year, inflation was like 5 point something percent, no, like 6 point something percent before it got to like 3 point something. I think presently in the UK is 3 point something percent. And look at the return. The return is 18.72% within 6 months. So S&P 500 will always beat inflation. So even let's look at it this way. When Victoria was present, he said the minimum is like 10%. And average inflation is 3%. Most of the time, they even consider 2.5%. That is the normal inflation rate. So if you are getting return of 10% every year and inflation is 2.5%, you are still getting like 7.5% interest. But if you put the money in savings account, normal savings account, and you are getting 0.005 and inflation is 2.5%, you are losing money. So it's something that I think we should consider. Same thing with property. In property, they say property appreciates 6 to 10% thereabout. So if inflation is 2.5% in the UK, you are still making money. So I think it's better for us to invest the money as opposed to thinking of, oh, inflation, the value. It will always beat inflation. And that's why top guys actually invest in, S&P 500, invest in stocks because they know that it will always beat inflation. Do we have any other question or contribution
Uncle
before we end the
BC,
session? Yeah.
Uncle BC,
Yes.
I just want to share my screen real quick
Yes.
because even, earlier, let me share my screen again and just show you guys. This is over how many days now? Where's the sharing button? 1 second. Okay. Share. I went back into the account to log in live, right?
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. That's the perfect thing. Like last year, my own account returned over 20 something percent in my S&P account. So that is that is something, right? But I wanted to share. Let me see. Did I make a mistake? 12.59. I'm coming. Okay, right here. In the span of just how many days of taking this? Do you see the difference? 12.7. I took this screenshot and it was 12.5.
Ooh.
This was March 19 and we're March 23rd. So this was as of last, like, market close. And 5.1, this one is a very aggressive one. So sometimes that one fluctuates. But right here. So yeah, it's still a little bit of an increase in just a few days. So this is not more like I like
that was
you
that was
mentioned
29% return. If you put this cursor there, I think I'm seeing the return. That's
right here.
29% return on investment.
I think it's
Okay.
much of the balance of the fund. I would want to even see how there's no way in this account the returns are like, look, you're buying units, 20 each one, like I said, very aggressive portfolio, but it's $20 for each unit. $20. So if I'm not putting money that I'm what's it called, that I'm struggling. Does that make sense? It's not I want to say it in Yoruba. It's not money to pamilara.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's not making me uncomfortable because that's literally money for both of them that I can use to go to do my nails.
Yeah.
But I don't do my nails though. So that's where I put my